Donald Trump has his share of celebrity supporters, but Duck Dynasty's Phil Robertson may be the only one hoping to give the candidate Bible lessons. He also has a new film called Torchbearer, and Phil Robertson joins us now. Thank you very much, sir. Good to have you on. How you doing?
Hey, good to be here. They told me that you were from Louisiana, and I said, man, two Louisiana guys meet on national TV. There's still hope for America, Don.
A little town called Port Allen. I'm sure you've heard of it, just west of Baton Rouge. That's where I grew up.
Yep.
Yeah.
I had two brothers graduated from LSU down there.
Very nice. Go Tigers. So listen, you listed your qualifications for president earlier this year. I want you to listen to them.
My qualifications for President of the United States are rather narrow. Is he or she godly? Does he or she love us? Can he or she do the job? And finally, would they kill a duck and put him in a pot and make him a good duck gumbo? I've looked at the candidates. Ted Cruz.
So, how does Donald Trump meet those qualifications in your opinion?
Well, his son's duck hunt, which is a positive for him. In fact, we took Donald Jr., got him in the duck blind. The guy was a very good shot, and down in Louisiana, you know, that kind of elevates a man. So I know his son's hunt. That's a good sign. I jokingly said to someone the other day that, yeah, we get a little Bible in old Trump. I think he'll be all right. I said, I can see it now. The camera's panning. He's the next president of the United States. His cabinet members are there. And then the camera pans over, and there I am, his spiritual advisor. That's how wild this election cycle has been. But I was only kidding, Don.
Mm-hmm. Well, you said you wanted to get, we'll talk about that, sit down between him and a Bible and do some discussing, but let's talk about that a little bit later on. Originally you said that you backed Ted Cruz and suggested that he'd make a great UN ambassador. Were you happy with the race that Ted Cruz ran? Where did he fall short?
Overall, I was happy with Ted. I just looked at the field, and being a Bible man myself, and I would be labeled as way out there on the right, but that's not entirely true. But Cruz, I knew, was a strict constitutionalist, and I knew his daddy was a preacher, so I thought he probably had good values and was raised right. So I looked at the Supreme Court nominees coming up, and I said, you know, I loved old Anthony Scalia, and I said, I'll go with Cruz. That's the reason I went with Ted Cruz. He didn't make the cut. The people spoke. They said, Mr. Trump is a man we want. Willie, one of my sons, went with Trump to start with, but as a Republican, I tend to be loyal to the Republican Party. The Republicans spoke. I said, so be it. It's a constitutional republic. I'll go with the man y'all think ought to be in there.
Why did you bypass him then in January?
It's about that simple. Do what?
Why did you bypass him in January then?
Why did I bypass him?
Yeah, why was he not your first pick is what I'm asking.
Because I just said, I knew based on their record, Trump's a businessman from New York. He's never run for anything that I know of in public office. I knew Cruz's record as far as his representing cases before the Supreme Court. I knew he was a strict constitutionalist, an originalist. And that's why, that basically is what won me over for Cruz.
You also just said something I find very interesting. You said that most people think that you're really far out there on the right, but you're not. Explain that to our viewers.
I'm not an ideologue, meaning I'm not into politics very heavily. That's the truth of the matter. My job, my tasks, I deal on the spiritual warfare level. I would love for you to see what my daily, week by week, I would love for you to see what I do. I work with heroin addicts, people in prison just got out. They're fixing to go to prison, alcoholics, and abused women like you would not believe, horrific stories, all types of sexual sins, That's what we deal with throughout each week, over and over and over. I could tell you some wild conversion stories. Some girl just got on a bus in Arizona, came down the other day, sat down in front of me. She said, "Mr. Robertson, can you help me?" I said, "Honey, what's your problem?" She said, "I'm a heroin addict." I said, "I am here to help you." So now she's a repentant woman. She's happy, and I'm happy for her. I love that girl. I'm glad she came. But and that's just one out of about 10 or 15 this past week. It's just so many. We had one couple was married.
Not to cut you off, but because we have very limited time here. You know that it's television. You had a television show. You know we deal in time. But how does that not make you really far right, considering some of your stances and some of what you said?
What I'm saying is I'm not into politics nearly as much as I am into helping my fellow man.
Gotcha.
My neighbor, loving my neighbor.
All right. All right.
That's where I camp out.
All right. Phil Robinson, stick around. We're going to have another talk with you on the other side of this break. Don't go anywhere. Back with me now, Duck Dynasty's Phil Robertson. I want to talk to you about something Donald Trump said on Fox and Friends yesterday. Here it is.
I don't want to have guns in classrooms, although in some cases teachers should have guns in classrooms, frankly, because teachers are, things that are going on in our schools are unbelievable. You look at some of our schools, unbelievable what's going on. But I'm not advocating guns in classrooms. But remember, in some cases, and a lot of people have made this case, teachers should be able to have guns. Trained teachers should be able to have guns in classrooms.
So Trump talked to CNN about this today, saying that he means school resource officers or trained teachers should have guns in school. Is he right?
Because there's been so much carnage from time to time in our schools, I don't disagree with his assessment. If people just come in the way they've done in some of these schools and just start shooting up the place, I would feel better about it if my children were in that school, if someone, and I would have to stress that they'd have to be fully trained and know firearms and be thoroughly vetted. But I would say at least they would have had a better chance if that were the case. So I don't think it's beyond the pale to say trained professionals who are there to protect the children. I don't have a problem with that.
Where do you stand on some of Donald Trump's key issues, a Muslim ban, building a wall along the border with Mexico? Where do you stand on those issues?
The border's been so chaotic through the years. I think we at least are to be able to verify people coming and going. There's so many drugs coming back and forth. It's just been so chaotic about the last 25, 30 years. That something needs to be done. Whether Trump can pull it off and monitor people coming and going in our country, seems like that's a long stretch of territory. But I would say it's probably worth the attempt. I would think now, at this time frame, with ISIS and all these things that are going on, I would feel a little better about it if the border was more secure than it is now.
And the ban on Muslims?
If we know some people are coming in, some terrorists are coming in with certain groups of people, I would think it would be almost impossible to verify whether they've been radicalized or whether they want to come in and killer teams are formed. It's happened before. I would say we need to monitor that very carefully. Whether you ban them, outright ban them or not, it's kind of like the border. If I'm in Mexico and I have my wife and children there and I'm starving to death living under a piece of tin stretched between two trees, and someone told me, if you could get across that river and you work hard, you can do a lot better just right across the river. As a human, I would probably be tempted to swim the river and take my wife and kids with me. So I understand this is a great place of opportunity and a lot of people want to come here. I'm for it. But it does need to be monitored because of the current crisis with this asymmetrical warfare and this guerrilla fighting. These people are among us. and they really can do a lot of damage in a hurry.
I want to get to your
But
to ban them. Go ahead, finish your thought because
Go
I want to
ahead.
get to your film. You said to ban them what?
do what now?
I said finish your thought. You said to ban them what?
To ban them, just outright ban them all, I don't know. I just know it has to be checked carefully if you're going to let people in.
Okay, let's
They
talk
have to
about
be
Torchbearer
vetted, that's
now.
all I can tell you.
It just screened at the Cannes Film Festival. So tell me about it. How was it received?
I thought it was received well, but it's hard to tell, you know. I looked around, Don, and I said, it looks like I'm the only guy around here with camouflage breeches on. I think they thought, some of them, that I was a homeless man, but they were perplexed because they were thinking, why would a homeless man have those beefed up bodyguards with him? But I think Torchbearer was received well by the audience that saw it, and who knows? Who knows what it'll do? I think it needs to be seen. I do think that. It's one of the very few films I've seen that I shed tears.
Mm-hmm. Well, the film is called Torchbearer and is at the premiere at the Cannes Film Festival. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you joining us. Bill Robertson.
All right, man.
Thank you.